National Intelligence. D, the Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. E, senior White House attorneys. Let me just turn now to page 8. F, senior staffers on the defendant's 2020 election campaign. G, state legislatures and officials, many of whom were the defendant's political allies. And H, state and federal courts, the neutral arbiters. So what are you saying, that he didn't do his homework? It's laid out here, A through H.
I'm saying that that is something that looks great on paper, looks great in an indictment, and falls totally flat once you put it into a courtroom, because you have to have every single one of those people come in and testify about that. And they have to all be cross-examined. And so you go right down that list, every single one of them. Bill Barr is going to have to come in there and testify that, yes, he told President Trump that there was no evidence of fraud, but then he's going to be cross-examined. How many agents did you have go out and investigate? How many man hours were expended on that? How many witnesses did you interview? Did you send anybody to look at the machines? What did you do to actually verify any of these claims? Did you even sit with Mr. Giuliani to see what he was telling the president that you needed to go and verify? And the answer to those questions when it comes to Barr is going to be no to every single one of them. And so if you can't show that the people that are telling him there's no fraud had actually done an investigation, had actually done the work, and could back it up by anything other than, no, we're not going to investigate because we don't think that there's fraud, then when it comes to a jury who has to find beyond a reasonable doubt that he knew, that's going to totally die. Again, it looks great in an indictment, but it dies in front of a jury.
The former Attorney General Bill Barr has said publicly on television, so I'm sure he would say it in a courtroom, that he did look into the claims and found no proof of election fraud.
And if he's subjected to actual questioning by an attorney during cross-examination, that's going to actually dig beneath the surface, not just accept those statements at face value, dig in to find out the details, I think that you're all going to be very surprised at what Mr. Barr has to say.
Tim Parlatore, thank you for joining us. Want to bring in Ricky Kleeman.
You're watching the 4 to 5 on WFMY News 2. Of course, you have been listening to a special CBS News report as former President Donald Trump is appearing in court in Washington, D.C.
Yes, officials say the former president is expected to plead not guilty during his arraignment. On Tuesday, Trump was indicted by a federal grand jury.
Yeah, so all this has been happening just this week. The federal case, of course, stemming from Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. He faces 4 charges for conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights.
Supporters of the former president started gathering in D.C. this morning. The supporters also included a Trump impersonator driving around in a car modeled to look like the famous presidential limousine. Meanwhile, there's extra security at the federal courthouse. That includes extra officers on bikes, in patrol cars, and barricades.
All right, and so right now, the former president is, in fact, inside the courthouse for the hearing. And as stated earlier, he is expected to enter a plea of not guilty. And of course, this is a developing story. We will let you know as soon as we learn more about what's happening inside that courtroom.
Let's get back to our local big story of the day, and that is the 84th Wyndham Championship. It kicked off this morning at Sedgefield Country Club.
A soggy kickoff, it was, yes, as the pro golfers from all over the world right here in the Triad. We have live team coverage at the course for a look at the leaderboard, plus all of the fun for fans as well.
Yeah, before we get an update from Chad and Amanda, we have to check in, though, on that forecast because we've been wondering about the rain and the Wyndham and all that good stuff. So, Tim, tell us what's going on. Oh, sorry. We're going to go directly to me. I thought we were tossing to Tim. Here, let me step out of the way then so we can get back to our graphics because I got to change. We got to change computers here. I don't know if our director can switch that because that is the opposite computer. I apologize. I thought Tim was standing by. All right, well, I can do this though. We'll take a look and see what's going on with temperatures across the region. Okay, that's the good news because we're so cool. You know, we're looking at 70 degrees for Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point. Lexington, the same reading. These readings are way below normal. Our normal this time of the year is around 88 degrees, so you can see we're way below that. Scattered showers again tonight. We're keeping our fingers crossed. If you're heading out to the Wyndham, especially for tomorrow, then we think we can bring the rain chances down maybe second half of the day. So look for those showers to be with us at least for that first part of the day. The high temperature only gets to 77 degrees. As we said, that is way below normal. Rain right now, it's kind of scattered right all over the place, fairly moderate. The heavier stuff is back toward Tennessee. Doesn't mean we won't see some of that, but the way all this is trending, some of it, once it comes off the mountains, it's kind of fizzling out a little bit and staying with light to moderate. So if you look at the rain, this is Friday morning. Now Friday afternoon, we may get breaks in the clouds and sunshine by the end of the day on Friday. If so, that could bring our temperatures back up. For the weekend, though, we're back to the 80s and rain chances are down.
All right, now that we know what's going on forecast-wise, let's get back to the golf. The 84th Wyndham Championship totally underway. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson live at Sedgefield Country Club with a look. Let's look at that leaderboard.
Hey, it's a little bit of a rainy day and a chilly-ish kind of day to open up the Wyndham. First round action getting underway today. It's not as busy as we normally see it, probably because of the rain that we have had earlier today, but golf still went on here at last check. Adam Scott sits at the top of the leaderboard. He needs to have a good showing here in the FedEx Cup standings. Scott sits at 81. Now you're looking at this screen that shows two-way tie for second, but there's actually a four-way tie now between Thomas Gentry, Ludwig Aberg, and Webb Simpson and Vincent Norman. We got a Wake Forest guy up in there. Now the first round of the Wyndham Championship is still going on. We will update you as this wraps up.
All right, as usual, there are some big names in Greensboro this week competing at Sedgefield. The field includes Japanese superstar Hideki Matsuyama, who's an 8-time PGA Tour winner and the 2021 Masters champ. Justin Thomas, of course, a 2-time major winner and 2017 FedEx champion. And 2019 Open Championship winner Shane Lowry. These are just to name a few. We love to name drop, right? One big name not at Sedgefield this weekend is last year's tournament winner, which is Tom Kim. Last month, he withdrew from the tournament after hurting his ankle during the Open Championship.
And Triad teachers, listen up. You may have heard about this. There's still time left to claim your free tickets. That's right, free to the Wyndham Championship. The Joseph Bryan Foundation will cover tickets for all K through 12 teachers in the Piedmont Triad. Teachers can also request one free guest pass as well. We have directions on how to claim them right on our website. And some lucky teachers may even get the chance to see our very own Chad Silber out there. He joins us live at the Wyndham Championship with a look at all the fun you can have this weekend. Chad?
Hey Eric, yeah, a lot cooler than yesterday and wetter than your day yesterday here at the Wyndham. You can kind of hear the music from Margaritaville in the background here. Lots of people coming out, not as many as Amanda was saying because of the rain, but I want to show you something really cool this year. So you might have seen this earlier, but so the Sandcastle is really at a pivotal part of the Wyndham right here, but you can see the huge building that is now attached to this. And I want to show you some video of this artist renderings of what is on the roof of this building. They're actually like a mini putt-putt golf course up there. We tried to get up there, but as you can imagine, the rain has kept us down. It's actually flooded right now. So they're working to get it back to the way that it should be. So hopefully tomorrow you can go up there and check it out. The renderings make it look really cool though, so hopefully it will be open tomorrow. You also see some video, I think we have some video of the Margaritaville inside. A lot of people have been hanging out inside there today trying to avoid the rain, but we've heard from the meteorologist who's out here who works with the PGA Tour that we've got a lull in the rain for the next hour and a half, so we're hopeful the Gulf will continue and people will be able to enjoy their time. We're going to be showing you more of it coming up in just a little bit. Eric?
All right, it's time to get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Summer is over, at least for some Guilford County students. Today, kids studying at the middle and early colleges. They went back to class for their first day. This includes the academies at Smith and Kearns as well. When it comes to other districts, other elementary, middle, and high schools, parents still have a couple more weeks before their kids get back to school. The official first day is scheduled for the 28th.
Well, GCS says there will be at least 250 new teachers in schools across the district this year. To help out, the Teacher Supply Warehouse is hosting a special shopping day tomorrow for all the new educators. Teachers will be able to shop throughout the day for new and gently used classroom supplies. And again, they're all free. The teachers will also get a free lunch to take back to their classrooms.
And it's been more than a month since a disturbing crack on a popular Carowinds roller coaster was discovered and reported. In the wake of the revelation of that crack on the Fury 325 ride, the park officials have shut that down for repairs and testing. But while North Carolina leaders take a closer look at the coaster, how do officials in South Carolina rate the park for safety? Here's what our sister station in Charlotte found.
Behind every thrill-seeking roller coaster, pages and pages of inspections. WCNC Charlotte went through hundreds of reports to see how rides are reviewed at Carowinds after a large crack was discovered on the Fury 325. Carowinds straddles the state line, so we requested inspection records for the past 4 years from both North and South Carolina Departments of Labor and found few issues in either state's reports, which means the rides should be ready for takeoff. On the South Carolina side of the park, documents show efforts to inspect electrical equipment, ride speed, abnormal wear, and more, all standard procedures. This year, the Intimidator had a seatbelt replaced following one inspection, and Afterburn had one of its trains removed for maintenance. Meanwhile, Nighthawk had a seat repaired back in 2020. In North Carolina, reports show rides were inspected and approved to run year after year. And during this year's check, the Fury only had minor issues related to signage, which North Carolina's Labor Commissioner says were immediately corrected.
If there were no deficiencies, no indications found at that time, that's what it says. That doesn't mean that something can't happen down the road.
Michael Hupalo is a structural engineer with more than 30 years of experience inspecting amusement park rides. While he hasn't worked on rides at Carowinds, he says the report shows an effort by inspectors to keep riders safe, adding that daily inspections are also supposed to be conducted by park staff, something Carowinds says it's doing.
These are mechanical devices. They're machines. They require maintenance. They require inspection. And the same sort of attention you would provide to most any other machinery.
Well, last week, the North Carolina Department of Labor, they did confirm that there was a second possible crack or break on the Fury 325. Officials say it's not known how severe the flaw is, where it's located, or if it impacts the structural integrity of the coaster. Right now, that ride is undergoing a series of tests before it's allowed to reopen. We'll be right back.
Oh, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You caught me just as I was about to walk in. Hello there. This is Amanda.
Barbie and Oppenheimer continued to dominate box offices across the United States. Now, it was Tuesday, I believe, that the doll-inspired movie racked up another $15 million on a Tuesday.
15 million.
Yeah, and then it climbs to the ranks of top released movies of this year.
Today we're talking about another somewhat toy-inspired movie, The Beanie Bubble.
Oh, I just watched this.
You did?
I did over the weekend.
Very nice. Very nice. We're going to find out if it's News 2 approved with Mr. Manny Franks.
I can't say that I was a Beanie Babies collector myself, but we all knew at least someone who collected them in the late 80s, the 90s, or maybe even now. And to capitalize off of this growing trend of movies based on products, the Beanie Babies are getting a biographical film about their meteoric rise. Although, can the film reach those same heights? The heights of crazed fans clawing to get their hands on this little guy. Say hi. No. No, it cannot.
Ty would tell you he did it all. Which is as crazy as believing stuffed animals are gold.
Did you see the truck crash?
Insane.
Poor beanies.
In the 90s, everywhere you looked, there were Beanie Babies. In the Beanie Bubble, Ty Warner, played by Zach Galifianakis, builds his kingdom by marketing these understuffed plushies.
For greater posability.
Through hubris and greed, Ty will do whatever is necessary to remain on top. Yet what most people aren't aware, behind the scenes, the Ty Inc. empire has been building a bubble, and like most bubbles, it will inevitably pop. Like the Beanie Babies themselves, the movie is bursting with incredible use of color and stylishly vibrant direction from Kristen Gore and Damian Kulash. What could have been a boorish by-the-numbers corporate drama has a little bit of life jolted into it by a singular direction from the duo. Almost every frame feels as if it was handled with such care and consideration, evoking the Beanie Babies themselves. In addition, Zach Galifianakis and Geraldine Viswanathan are giving such dynamic and eye-catching performances that really elevate the material. Yet even confident direction can't save the Beanie Bubble from coming across as shallow, thanks in part to a script that's more interested in capturing the cultural zeitgeist than to entertain or provide any interesting discussion on the collection craze of the 90s. While the actors and directors try to salvage what they can, when it comes to films based around other products, this really pales in comparison to other offerings like the entertainment of Tetris or the creativity of Barbie. While certainly not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, in fact, I would still call it a well-made one. The Beanie Bubble just struggles to differentiate itself from similar films even this year. The film wishes that it could capture the same fever pitch as the Beanie Babies themselves did. I'm giving the Beanie Bubble a meandering for you to decide. You can stream it only on Apple TV+.
I had never heard of this until now.
It came out the same week as Barbie and Oppenheimer,
Well, that's why.
of course it was
Swept away.
swept away.
All right, so okay, right? That's what
I
you're
think
saying.
it's, as I said, it's well made, it's good, but I feel like in the slew of products, as you're mentioning to me,
Like Air.
like Air, Tanya, like it feels fine. It's perfectly serviceable, and it's good entertainment value if you want to stream a movie for a day or something.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I watched it. It was one of those things, like, I almost watched it more on the documentary side of documentary with, like, sparkle, right? That's how I
They
see
did
it.
say sparkle,
right?
yes, they did.
Because I think to myself, a lot of it was true. There were some things that were,
Of course.
you know, done.
Dramatized.
Dramatized and
as
things of
always.
that nature. But I didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, so to me it was interesting.
See,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
me. I'd rather hear like the history of, because I remember that craze was out of control.
Right.
So I would like to hear it.
I need to hear a documentary about the Beanie Baby craze. If there is one out there, please let me know, everyone, because I don't know myself, but I would love to see it.
Interesting. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. All right, let's talk about this forecast with the rain out there that we've been seeing. And yes, I am doing weather this time. We got it down. We got it down to a science now. 67 degrees tonight, scattered showers. Hey, we're going to see this rain. I think it gets still overnight and then half of the day tomorrow. I really think if you have tickets for Wyndham and you're heading out there tomorrow morning, isolated shower here or there, but really clouds could break by the end of the day. We might actually see sunshine, and the weekend is absolutely perfect. Looking at rain now, you're like, yeah, right, look at that. Scattered rain, not as widespread as this morning, and the heavier stuff is really west of us for now. All of that will continue pushing back down to the east along with that stationary front. And so again, our Friday, second half of the day at least, looks really nice. Temperatures though, wow, really comfortable at 77. Now if we get breaks in the clouds, we might see that temperature shoot back up maybe to a lower 80 here or there. But 7-day forecast holding 87 and 88 for Saturday, Sunday. Rain chances all but non-existent on Saturday and only at 20% on Sunday. Next week, that's a normal 20 or 30%, and we hover in the upper 80s for Monday, Tuesday, mid 80s Wednesday, and 87 on Thursday. Well, you may have noticed a slight dip in the grocery bill, but eating out will still cost you. Last month, we told you how much I spent my wife with groceries. We were saying it's like $800 a month when we have all 6 of us home.
Whoa,
Yeah, it gets to be quite expensive, so it's kind of tough with big families.
One New York restaurant has a solution, and it involves dropping their prices. Can you imagine? I mean,
Nice.
taking a family of 6 out to eat is expensive as well,
It
right?
is all
Not
the
just eating at home. After seeing food, goods, and labor prices skyrocket during the pandemic, Morgan's Brooklyn Barbecue is shaving a little off the top. The owner says costs on some items have finally come down, and he's passing along those savings to customers.
While the cost of cooking at home has cooled off a bit, dining out remains for the most part pricey. The most recent government data shows grocery store prices were up 4.7%. Restaurant bills were up 7.7% for that. So I asked you on Facebook, please share your money-saving tips for buying groceries or eating out. Maureen said, we buy a lot of chicken from Hopkins Poultry in Brown Summit. I know where that is. She says you can make such a large variety of meals with chicken. It goes a long way. Kimberly says, eating out, we never order soda. We stay with water because it usually comes free with the meals. We often share a plate, and it's usually enough for us. Groceries, we use Ibotta, Receipt Pal, and Fetch, which offers discounts, and you get receipts and coupons too. Kathy says, hey, it's called a backyard garden, people. That's how you save money. Mary says she shops at Aldi and local farms for fresh produce. Lucille says, eating out, get water, share an entree. We eat more at a meal than we eat a lot of times, so sharing will leave you satisfied but not stuffed. And I think that's true because I think the average portion for restaurants in our world in America is too big anyway.
Oh, for sure. I mean, just last night we had Mexican, so we got it to go, and I had fajitas, and I got 3 more meals out of it for the rest of the week. So that's 4 meals total out of the 1 meal.
Well, see, that works.
Right.
I mean, that's common
And you
sense.
can't do that with everything, right? But
And some things don't keep.
some things don't keep. That's
Keep
true.
well. Because I love salads, but salads, I can do them the next day. I can't, and probably just lunch because the lettuce gets so wilty and.
But the same thing is like, you're gonna have pizza, right? Instead of eating the entire pizza between the 2 of us, maybe we both have a slice or 2 slices and we have a salad with it, or we have green beans, or we have some kind of vegetable. I'm just gonna sound like your mom right now. Have a
That is
vegetable,
true.
and then you can have pizza the next day
But
too.
see, mentally, it makes you feel like you have pizza.
For
Just
sure.
give me one. All right, we're coming back. Hi there, welcome back to the 4 to 5. Eric and Tanya with you. Chad is over at the Wyndham, keeping an eye on things for us over there. Rough job.
Rough job, especially today though, actually, right? It's not the best job
true.
today because it's all rainy.
Yeah, you know, but it gets better from here on out, by the way.
That
with
is
the rain.
true. We do
Yeah.
have a lot to get in this last half hour of the 4 to 5. First, we're going to talk about this right here. Former President Donald Trump, facing new indictments, is currently inside a Washington, D.C. courtroom for his arraignment.
He's facing 4 charges connected to the January 6 U.S. Capitol riots. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from outside the courthouse.
Donald Trump arrived in Washington, D.C. and then traveled by motorcade to a federal courthouse. This is the former president's first court appearance to face unprecedented charges related to the January 6th Capitol attack and what prosecutors allege was a sweeping scheme to overturn the 2020 election. Outside the courthouse, security is tight. The city even pulling snowplows out of storage to bolster the fence line.
Here on the sidewalk outside of the courthouse, there are both supporters of the former president and those demonstrating against him. Some people even traveling from out of state to be here for this historic hearing.
Trump himself weighed in ahead of the hearing, saying he's going to Washington to, quote, be arrested for having challenged a corrupt, rigged, and stolen election. He's expected to enter a not guilty plea to 4 felony counts, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding.
Essentially, his defense is going to be, I fully had the right to contest an election that I knew or I was convinced was rigged. And so part of the challenge here is to prove that, no, this was in fact a fraud.
Special counsel Jack Smith says he's seeking a speedy trial, but Trump's legal team has signaled they will seek delays as the former president now faces charges in 3 separate cases.
All right, and we are told that Donald Trump was inside the courtroom and did plead not guilty. And of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated on this on air and online. Now we go to a pair of recalls in your 4 to 5 roundup. You need to check your birth control pills because they may be defective. The FDA is recalling thousands of boxes of Tidemi birth control pills. They say that some batches are defective, could lead to a pregnancy. The pills were sold at pharmacies nationwide from June of last year through May of this year. Officials say patients should continue taking the medication, but they need to seek an alternative from their doctor.
Meanwhile, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling over 12,000 baby monitors. The agency says the Philips Avent digital video baby monitor could possibly overheat while charging and can cause burns. Nearly 24 people have complained about the monitors. All the reports have been overseas. So far, no one in the U.S. has made that report.
A post on social media is gaining some traction, making people question whether or not an employer can cut a worker's pay without their consent. The post states that a fast food restaurant reduced an employee's hourly wage without asking the employee first. Is the practice legal? Well, Megan Bragg went digging to find the answer.
Okay, let's say you are hired to work at a fast food restaurant for $15 an hour. Then without asking you, the employer changes your hourly rate. Now you make $11 an hour. Is this legal? Can an employer change a worker's hourly wage without the employee's permission? Let's verify. Our sources are attorney Josh Van Kampen with Van Kampen Law and the North Carolina Department of Labor.
Most people are really disappointed to learn that their employer can reduce their pay after they're hired.
According to the Department of Labor, an employer can change its wage agreement with an employee at any time, regardless of what their original wage was and without the employee's permission. But there are certain requirements the employer must follow to stay within the law.
So employers in North Carolina are obligated to identify in writing to workers what their pay is when they're hired. However, once an employee has begun work, the employer has the ability to change the terms of the compensation plan, but they have to provide advanced written notification that they are changing the compensation.
But employees do have some safeguards.
There is a backstop, which is that the wage has to at least meet minimum wage, and the employer also, for hourly workers, still has to pay time and a half for hours over 40.
So what can you do as an employee if your wages are reduced against your wishes? Van Kampen says not much.
If the employer has provided the written notification in advance, there really isn't anything that the employee can do unless that reduction in pay has been made for discriminatory reasons.
Van Kampen says if your wages are reduced, it might be smart to talk to your coworkers to find out if they were also affected.
If your pay is reduced, if it were me, I wouldn't hesitate to ask my coworkers if it happened to them as well.
That can give you insight into whether the pay cut was across the board or whether your boss singled you out. So we can verify that, yes, an employer can change its wage agreement with an employee, but they have to provide written notice beforehand. With your Verify, I'm Megan Brad.
Temperatures are really cool for this time of the year. You know, if you're keeping score, upper 80s, that's where we should be. And look at this, 70 degrees in Greensboro. Of course, these are rain-cooled temperatures in addition to the cloud cover that we're seeing. 69 in High Point, 73, Asheboro, Burlington, 72. Mount Airy's at 68. And where Mount Airy is right now is about our overnight low tonight. So temperature's not changing a whole lot with all the rain out there. Scattered showers tonight. Now tomorrow, we'll say an isolated storm, but there is a chance that most of this rain could be out by early afternoon. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for that. For now, we'll just call for a scattered shower or two. And I don't think they may be quite as heavy as what we've seen at times today, except in the early morning hours. After that, we may be able to salvage the second half of the day, and I'm sure the Wyndham officials will love that outlook. Not as widespread right now with the rain. Most of the heavier stuff is to the south and west of us. Still, we could see that isolated storm even tomorrow, even though we don't expect as much of it as we've seen in the last 12 to 24 hours. So across the region, you'll see that stationary front kind of meandering a little bit. Now, this is Friday morning, and now you see Friday afternoon and evening. That's at about 5:20 tomorrow afternoon. There's that low pressure there, but again, that's moving on to the east. And when that cold front kind of sweeps all that away, we end up with some decent weather. Our weekend looks absolutely perfect. The 7-day forecast after rain tomorrow morning, then it's 87 and 88 for the Wyndham weekend, partly cloudy skies and reduced rain chances.
This year, marking the 84th playing of the Triad's PGA Tour event, the Wyndham Championship. Chad has one of this year's competitors hoping to lift the Sam Snead Cup one more time. Who is that? That's Brandt Snedeker.
That's right, Tanya. There are actually 10 golfers who have won a Wyndham title multiple times. Brandt Snedeker is one of them. He's won twice, first in 2007 and then 11 years later in 2018. This week, he told us that he's happy to be back on the course. He missed nearly 9 months because of injury. This week's tournament is his 7th since returning to tour play, and it comes at a course that he's...
Yeah, it's always exciting to come back here. You know, got a lot of great memories here. Got a lot of close friends here from the years of playing here, and you know, Wyndham's been such a great partner for me. This is our 15th year together, so just happy to be here. See a bunch of great friends, a bunch of great memories on the golf course, so it always kind of leads to a great week for me. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough being away. You know, it's kind of, I'm viewing it as kind of a midlife sabbatical. You know, I kind of had 9 months where I didn't play golf, and made me realize how much I love this game, how much I love what I do for a living, how lucky I am to do what I do for a living. So when I started feeling good, it was super easy to kind of get back into playing a bunch of golf and practicing and realizing how much I missed it. So it's been great to be back. You know, just kind of rounding myself into form now, kind of getting the rust off, and every week I feel like I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better, so excited about what the rest of the year holds. I had a couple good rounds last week in Minnesota and felt like I was up there, and got the butterflies out for the first time again, and now I kind of understand, okay, where my game is, what I need to work on to get better, and feel like this week's is going to be a good test for me, and I'm in the right frame of mind and excited about what the week can hold. Got a lot of home course knowledge here. You know, I've played here a bunch throughout my career, had some success here obviously, so I kind of know what you need to do around here, where you need to leave it. What pins you can be aggressive to, what pins you can't, and that kind of stuff. And that makes a difference, you know. So over the course of the week, I kind of know how the course is going to play, and just kind of get back into my routine and realize, lean on all the experience I have.
And if you can't actually make it out to the Wyndham, we've got you covered. You don't have to worry about it. You can see the third and final round play from the Triads Tour event both Saturday and Sunday right here on WFMY News 2. Coverage runs from 3 to 6 on both days. Welcome back. You know, getting a letter from a loved one can make your day, but it can be tricky in some of the more remote places on the planet.
Yeah, in the UK, for example, the Royal Mail is testing a service that gives really a whole new meaning to airmail.
The Orkney Islands offer rugged, sweeping landscapes, but this corner of the UK is remote, and getting a letter there is slow until now. The Royal Mail is testing its first ever delivery service by drone.
But this has got the potential to change the way we deliver that service and make it a little bit greener going forward.
The drone can deliver up to 13 pounds to the island's roughly 300 residents. But this part of the planet is known for its rain, wind, snow, sleet, and hail.
You know, we're on the first day of August and it's nice weather. It might be a wee bit different. Give a few weeks.
Delivering the mail safely is a priority. On those days, a ferry service offers as backup. But the drone's operators want to beat the competition to make sure their delivery is first class.
It's all about, you know, what's the comparable service and how are they operating? Can we get close to that level or even beat that level while doing it with a very sustainable mode of transport as well?
The test service will run for 3 months, after which operators hope to have the Royal Mail's stamp of approval to continue on a permanent basis. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And listen to this, as a bonus, every Friday night, the drone operator says they plan to fly in fish and chips to the islands. That will be fun.
Okay, so that's in the UK, but the United States Postal Service also has some really interesting special deliveries. So, for example, when I hiked the Grand Canyon, they actually do have mules that take down mail to
Really?
Havasu Falls. Yes.
Actual mules.
Actual mules
That's
that had
crazy.
U.S. Postal Service things on each side of it that was taking the mail to Havasu Falls. My dad was a postmaster, and he said there were places that you could only get to by boat. And so there would be a rowboat for the
my
mailman to
gosh.
go over to certain places to do that.
Can you
so
imagine?
it happens.
I love that.
It happens.
Sorry.
All right, check this out. A farmer in Kansas has come up with a spectacular gift for his wife to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Sunflowers, as far as the eye can see. Actually, 1.2 million sunflowers if you really want to get specific. All for Lee Wilson's high school sweetheart and his wife, Renee. Lee secretly got his sons to help him plant all of these back in May.
You know, what's a guy get his gal on their 50th? And I put a lot of thought into it, and she always liked sunflowers. And I thought this is the year to plant sunflowers. So we planted her 80 acres of sunflowers.
It made me feel very special, and it couldn't have been a more perfect anniversary gift than a field of sunflowers.
Not 50 acres, but 80 acres. The sunflower field has drawn in people from all over Kansas to take pictures and experience the state flower in full bloom. Oh, I didn't realize it was the state flower. That's really cool.
didn't
And
know
what a
that either.
sweet, sweet, thoughtful thing.
Really is. You know, I mean 80 acres, that's a lot
Yes.
of work.
For sure.
I think about my yard, which is like 7/10 of an acre, and I think it's big. Imagine that, crazy.
And you know, we have sunflowers like that akin, you know, here. So we have Dewberry Farms that has sunflowers, 30,000 sunflowers. And then Dogwood Farms, which is in Forsyth County. And they have, I mean, acres and acres of sunflowers.
Cute things couples will do for each other. There was a man when I used to live in Kernersville, and there was a windmill that looked like a Dutch windmill, but in their backyard, and I always thought it was odd. Finally, I saw him in the yard one day. I said, "What is that?" He said, "My wife is from the Netherlands, and so to make her feel like she's not homesick, we built that in the backyard."
Oh, sweet.
It's really cute.
Look
Big
at those
windmill.
sweet things. Do something sweet for your sweet
Yes.
today.
We'll be right back. Yes, our coverage at the 84th Wyndham Championship is well underway. The 4-day tournament kicked off this morning at Sedgefield Country Club, and we'll be there all weekend.
All right, and so Chad, you are without the rain gear and standing outside.
Can you believe it? Look at me. Apparently there is a short lull of weather where we don't, I took off my raincoat. What do you think about that? Okay, so a lot of people go to, when they come to the Wyndham, they go to Margaritaville because that's where the action's at. This is really where the action is at for me. This is media ground where all of the networks come to really broadcast the Wyndham. So there are trucks here from CBS because obviously CBS Sports is carrying the Wyndham third and final round this weekend, but there's also trucks here from NBC Sports. The PGA Tour has their own trucks here. How cool to see behind the scenes where it really takes a ton of people to broadcast this tournament on a daily basis. I was just inside the CBS trailer. They're broadcasting right now. They couldn't talk to me. They said, you gotta go. But it's a very busy time out here. It's really cool to see. We're gonna have some more coming up at the top of the hour.
All right, so move over Barbenheimer. There's a new mashup in town. Monopoly and Scrabble are teaming up for a new board game. Instead of rolling dice to move around the board, players build words and move ahead according to their score.
Interesting. So if you build a word on a premium space, you get to claim that property. The winner is the player with the highest total of cash and property value when the last letter tile is played. The new game launches in the fall.
Scrabopoly.
Scrabopoly. So in honor of the new game, I asked you all on Facebook, hey, what games did you play as a kid? Or if you and your family have a favorite one. Candy says she loved Monopoly and the Game of Life. Lydia posted, I loved Clue. Monopoly is definitely dangerous for us. I think there's still an unfinished game from 2012 that had to be called for the sake of the family. Today we're more into card games. Cards Against Humanity, How Well Do You Know Your Family are the current phase. Casey says Scrabble and Yahtzee.
I love Yahtzee.
Brenda says Monopoly, Scrabble, and one called Tripoli. I don't know that one. Also Gin Rummy and Rook. So those are both like card games, right?
I forgot about Rook.
So I always played Clue as a kid.
I love Clue, me too.
And I was an only child, so I played it by myself.
Oh,
I was like, oh, let me get it out. Oh, it's Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the library.
In the parlor.
But what I love to play now is spoons.
What's that?
Have you ever guys played spoons? So it's half card game and then spoons there, and it's kind of like musical chairs. You're trying to get four of a kind. You're passing around all of these cards, and then you're grabbing for spoons. And let me tell you, family members will go at it to get the spoon, because if you don't have the spoon in your hand, you're out.
Do you remember, is it Concentration that had the little shapes and you start the timer?
Oh,
and you have to get all the shapes in there before it pops up?
Right, and Operation, kind of like that too, remember?
I love that one too.
And it would buzz you when you put the little liver in the spot and then you touch
That's right.
it.
There was always one, I can't remember which one was the hardest, like the spare rib or something was the hardest to get out. And that poor guy
And what about Simon? Remember Simon?
love
And you would do
Simon.
that? And you would try to do that?
Love it.
All right.
All right, we have a forecast to talk about because we've got some changes on the way, and it is for the better because, yes, we see some rain, but Chad was right, a little lull going on right now. You can see across Guilford County, it's not quite as widespread. Most of it is back toward the mountain communities for now. The way that all this is kind of shifting and moving, you see it's kind of pushing down south and east. So some of this heavier stuff may or may not stay with us. I mean, we're going to hold the rain chances definitely into the overnight, and I'll say the first half of the day tomorrow, but keep your fingers crossed, early morning showers, and I'm hoping by 10 a.m. or so, we may start to see a lull, and then finally it'll fizzle out. And some of the forecast models are showing some breaks in clouds and maybe even sunshine for the second half of the day on Friday. Now that will play havoc with high temperatures for tomorrow. We're calling for upper 70s. There's a chance it could go a little bit warmer if we get more of that sunshine than expected, but we'll keep you posted on that. Not a bad outlook. Scattered rain tonight though, 67. Tomorrow, again, as we mentioned, the first half of the day, a chance of a shower, isolated storm. But for the most part, I think we're good. Look at the weekend, 87, 88, almost rain-free. Then next week, normal 20 or 30% late-day pop-up shower storm, highs in the mid to upper 80s.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, check it, check, check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I in this block or am I in the B block?
Microphone checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hi there, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico. I just got back from a trip to Jamaica with friends to celebrate several birthdays. We had an incredible time in a beautiful country. One of the most surprising takeaways for me, how little workers in Jamaica get paid. The minimum wage is equivalent to $85 a week. And that just happened. In June, the country raised the minimum wage 44%. It used to be $59 a week. I don't know about you, but I could not imagine living off that type of paycheck. And it's evident when you see the small towns outside the resorts. Many of the houses are just one room and largely unfinished. Locals we met told us people don't typically take out loans for houses, so building a house is always a work in progress, one room at a time, and only when there's enough money to work on it. Obviously, the cost of living is much lower there than it is here, but poverty is still evident. It really made me appreciate all the things we have here, and it's a good reminder we've got it pretty good. That's just my 2 cents, and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Former President Donald Trump pleaded not guilty today to the most serious criminal charges he's faced yet.
Here is a look at the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., where he entered this plea just about a half an hour ago during his arraignment hearing. The federal case stems from Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. He faces 4 charges connected to this case: conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding,